Ben Piles here, writer and co-founder of Climate Debate UK. Ben, a very good morning to you.
Good morning, Mike.
Continuing with our theme of sort of hypocrisy, idiocy, and nothing really working very well, I'm pleased to see it doesn't just apply to Britain. It now applies to Brazil, where apparently a new 4-lane highway has been built to cut through tens of thousands of acres of protected Amazon rainforest. Why? Because there's a COP30 climate summit coming.
Yeah, that's right. It turns out that if you want to have international conferences where all the world's great big green big knobs are going to hang out, then you have to build a bypass so that they can all get to the conference centre from the nice parts of the city.
Yes.
To go and have a good old chinwag at the global taxpayers' expense. And of course, Brazilian cities are very often surrounded by virgin rainforest, and so the only way that conference can really take place is by cutting an 8-mile-long road through it. I mean, it does expose the hypocrisy of it, but it's just a bypass. I mean, we used to build bypasses all the time, and our deforestation or deforestation of the UK began thousands and thousands of years ago. We like to think that deforestation is a thing of the modern era, of the industrial era, but actually most of it took place BC. But the peak level of deforestation in the UK happened in, I don't want to say it's a history lesson, but it happened in the 17th century, and then it turned out we nearly ran out of trees, in fact, and that's when the use of coal was invented. And so what I would like the people who are going to these conferences to understand is just that lesson. Coal saved the trees. We started burning coal, so we stopped chopping down trees to make things and use for energy. Oil turned up a couple of centuries later, and that saved the whales, which is what we used.
Well, I used to like using a word which describes what we did over the course of centuries, called progress. You know, we became civilized as a result of the discovery of oil, as a result of the discovery of coal. We were able to heat our homes. We were able to propel machinery and move it from one place to another, which we couldn't do before. You know, we didn't have to drag ourselves, around the world without any kind of propulsion at all. You know, and these idiots want to take us back to the Stone Age, practically, where we can't have anything like that, and where we can only burn something that we would otherwise be eating.
Well, that's right, yeah. And the third fuel that turned up was natural gas, and natural gas has saved the human. Because natural gas isn't just the way we heat our home; it's the main ingredient of fertilizer, which increases the production of food on land.
Right.
And what that has meant is that the agricultural the footprint of farms throughout the world has shrunk. So now these are fossil fuels have sort of essentially reduced the impact that we have on the environment. So when these great big green conferences get their way and they get rid of coal, they get rid of oil, and they get rid of gas, our impact, our physical footprint on the world is going to be increased. And you see that, so it's terrible for on the green view that they're going to chop down some trees to make room for this road, but we only have to look as far as Wales to see what happens when they're going to build a wind farm. It turns out, if you want to build a wind farm, you need 1,000 times the area than you do, for example, a nuclear power station like Hinkley Point C, which only occupies a footprint of about 1 square mile, right? If you wanted to build a solar wind farm equivalent to Hinkley Point C, the same kind of output, you need an area the size of Britain. So it turns out that environmental ideas increase our impact on nature. They push nature further into into they just displace it.
And
completely.
Also these people, these hypocrites, never talk about the cost to the environment of producing a wind farm, a windmill, if you like. The fact that they now say they want to paint them black in order to stop them killing so many birds. The fact that they deteriorate over time and wouldn't last probably more than about 15 years because of the damage which is done to their just when they operate, and the fact that you can't really do much with them in terms of recycling them when they're finished.
Yeah, and you have to chop down balsa wood, which I believe comes from the Amazon, to make, they are the skeleton for the turbine blades. Right. And then, of course, in Scotland, famously, they've had to chop down millions of trees to make room for the wind farms on the top of hills.
Right.
So yeah, they're just swapping one problem for a bigger problem.
Exactly.
Where the Industrial Revolution was supposed to swap big problems for smaller problems.
Yeah, and COP30, sort of, it does what it says on the tin, doesn't it? You know, there's a reason why they haven't been successful in what they do, because they've had 30 of these meetings and they still claim that the world is dying, and if we don't stop soon, we're going to, end up, parachuting off the planet to go and live somewhere else. Well, if there was any truth to what they were saying, surely we'd see the evidence of it, and we don't see the evidence of it.
Well, I think the rule there is, or the lesson there is, saving the environment isn't about the environment, it turns out. These are conferences to basically acquire power and money, to take power away from democratic governments, from us, basically, and to sort of protect interests in these new global political organizations.
In which there is an awful lot of money. I mean, the one thing you can know for sure about all these climate nutters is they're all making a very, very tidy income from it. I was looking into the Climate Change Committee the other day, and the numbers of people on that Climate Change Committee and the qualifications they have to be on them it's a joke. It's completely laughable, and it's a government-funded organisation, i.e., we the taxpayer are paying for it.
Yeah, I think famously, the outgoing chief exec of the Climate Change Committee, Chris Stark, he's just moved to some other Frango now. He was on something like £300,000 or £400,000 a year packages, and now he's been replaced by someone whose credentials aren't in science and aren't in engineering, or aren't even really in project management. She's a classics graduate from Oxford, and I wonder whether these people could even wire a plug, let alone sort of redesign the power system for an entire country, never mind the entire world, which is their real ambition. I think you're right to question what their ambitions are and why they're so well rewarded for their
it's a completely middle class ambition, and the thing that worries me most is that many of them are funded as well, even if they're not part of a government organisation. They're funded in other parts of the world, including Britain, by these kind of charitable foundations set up mostly in America or Canada, where people have got billions and billions of dollars to give away, and they're sort of funding everything from Just Stop Oil to Greta Thunberg to who knows, Greenpeace, probably Extinction Rebellion as well. They're all in receipt of all of this free money that they get from these idiots who believe that they're doing the right thing.
Yeah, I know one green billionaire is actually British, but that's Christopher Hone. He spends more than $200 million a year on funding green campaigning organisations of various sorts, all completely opaque. If the Guardian were very interested in it, they would call it dark money, and then this is a real conspiracy. This isn't a conspiracy theory that you'd read in the Guardian. So they put all this money, and we don't know we don't even know which organisations they fund, where the money goes. But we know that we can see the influence, because the Westminster is surrounded by these so-called civil society organisations. And politicians are persuaded to, press ahead with these policies, no matter what the public thinks. And that $200 million a year, that's greater than all of the UK's political parties spend combined. So in a normal year. So this is a bigger lobbying effort than all of our kind of political parties. This is enormous, and that's just one green billionaire. The likes of Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos has a $10 billion fund for green organizations. And the new Doge revelations show that billions were dumped at the last days of the Biden regime into green campaigning organizations, so that they can carry on under Trump supporting green campaigning organizations all over the world. So this is a major scandal that's been brewing for a long time, and unfortunately it looks like we're not going to be able to do anything about it, maybe until the whole country is covered in solar panels and wind farms and we realize what's happened.
Heaven help us. Well, let's hope we can stop it. Ben, good to talk to you. Thank you very much indeed. Ben Pyle, writer and co-founder of Climate Debate UK.